Okay, hey, James.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the new Austrian Chinese fusion restaurant they have in Hannah Plaza? It's 80s themed.
It's 80s themed.
Yeah, it's an 80s themed Austrian Chinese fusion restaurant in Hannah Plaza.
No.
Like, I feel like this would be right up your alley.
What's its name?
Yeah.
It's called Walk Me Amadeus.
The only problem is every half hour you're hungry for power.
Oh, God.
Walk Me Amadeus.
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 Want to ring the bell?
I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum. I'm a loner, Daddy. Rebel.
I am the walrus.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to John Hates Movies, the movie review podcast where my friends prevent me from being eaten by a polar bear and instead force me to watch movies. I am your host, Jonathan Barrup, and this week we have with us Eric Largent.
Tally-ho.
We have Chris Arsenault.
I was working on a joke.
We have Colin McMillan.
Happy New Year!
And we have James Barrup.
I want to say something interesting, but I'm horribly two-dimensional.
Yes. This week we watched Snowpiercer.
Brr.
Yeah, brr.
Or else we call it Michigan.
Right, as I said, it was practically this movie was
movie
warm
was
in comparison. to
Quite
Michigan.
apropos.
Yes.
On location at my house.
It's -5 degrees out. They all die. Really? Actually, how cold was it supposed to be?
I don't think
Does
they ever
anyone
got
know?
into that.
No, they
Yeah,
just said
they
really
never
fucking
really
cold.
said. Yeah,
Just
really
super cold.
Yeah.
Cold
And
enough to
apparently
freeze your arm off, man.
Yeah, apparently everyone who ever tried to escape, was from California and didn't understand how to, wear layers.
Yeah. They all went out in their underpants.
So, the synopsis of this is that the Earth's remaining inhabitants are confined to a single train circling the globe as revolution brews among the class-divided cars. It's starring Chris Evans, Captain America, Kang Ho Song, who is probably the best Korean vampire I have ever seen.
I like Kang Ho Sung.
Was he an old boy?
Me too.
He was in the host.
Yeah, he's the host. He's the main character from that.
And his daughter in this is his daughter in that.
Yep.
Right. Imagine that.
The vampire movie I'm talking about, I think The Thirst? Great Korean vampire movie. It's hilarious and kind of awesome.
I don't
That guy's
think
awesome, though.
Koreans can be vampires, right?
He was.
Well, not North Koreans. They are not allowed.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, okay.
It's
yeah.
illegal up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ed Harris is also got a starring credit in this,
Yeah.
and it was directed by Jun Ho Bong. I'm not kidding.
Good job,
And
Junho.
that was not a that was not a joke.
I had 2 of those things last night.
No,
It was February,
did.
but
Yeah.
Marijuana.
yeah.
So, after I get done fielding calls from my mom about this episode, holy shit, I did not realize that Jun Ho Bong also directed The Host.
Yeah.
Well, holy mackerel.
How did...
One of these things is not
It's
like the
all
other.
coming together.
He can do things.
Well, I really, really love
Wait
The
a
Host.
minute.
I think
That
The
all
Host,
makes sense.
The Host
He
is
makes
probably
movies.
one of the best monster movies I've
It's a
ever
good
seen.
monster movie, that's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe we should have watched that in Spooktober.
Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe
I don't think it was
next
on.
it'll be
I
on.
mean, I saw it this year on Netflix. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on there
done
currently.
goofed.
It's on there currently,
Also a
and
good
I'm
Korean
hoping.
director.
I was gonna say,
We've done goofed as a Korean director. Sorry, you guys.
That's terrible. No,
You fucking assholes.
no.
As far as you know, what, John, I'm just going to take over.
to be
because-
fair,
Yeah,
with the way
absolutely.
we
Go ahead.
pull shit off, we probably should have it should have been requested for fucking Fieldsbury. It would have been about as accurate as well.
listen up, assholes. So I picked this movie this week. I guess if you guys didn't like it, then I didn't pick it, and it was really John for it.
Yeah, it was
So-
John, man.
No, I do. This
That
movie was sweet.
guy.
This movie like really intrigued me going into it because I had actually heard a little bit of the controversy regarding the release of this movie. I don't know if anybody else knows about that.
No,
I can't
I
say that
lost
I do.
my time to research. So
So this movie, was filmed by Jo Bong Joon or
Ju Bong Ho.
Okay, June
Bong
Bong Ho.
No, Ju
Ho
Ho
Bong.
Bong.
Jun
Yeah.
Ho Bong,
Yeah.
you
Sorry, I was
uncultured
thinking about
brute.
the order
All right,
last night.
we're just gonna call him JHB from now on.
Yeah.
Right?
JHB. John hates bongs.
So
You
this movie was,
prude. Sorry.
GHB, I know that. Anyway,
so this movie was directed, written, or I don't know, it was obviously not written by June Ho Bong, but it was directed by him, and it was scheduled to be released in the United States by the Weinstein Company. But for them, in order to release it, they demanded that 20 minutes of footage get cut from the movie, and there be a voiceover
Romance?
of a voiceover at the beginning and at the end explaining everything.
Okay.
Like a voiceover at the beginning explaining everything, and then a voiceover at the ending saying everything worked out. Which
Right.
I don't know. I would not have
Okay.
liked that. So since JHB would not do those things, the movie got no marketing funding upon release. So it just kind of got like dropped out into American theaters. And as such, that's why nobody really, effectively nobody's heard of it until it shows up on Netflix and has Captain America in a starring role. So this movie is like right in my wheelhouse. I really enjoy speculative fiction, like high concept fiction like this. Like I've thought up, before I watched this movie, I'd thought up like similar type of post-apocalyptic stories about people that have to survive on Earth after, shit hits the fan. Like this is the kind of stuff I like. And obviously JHB, I'm sticking with that. I'm going to make that work, JHB.
Yeah.
Obviously he was working with, the effects were good, but they were not Hollywood good. And I didn't mind it that much at all, because they do a good job of not relying on effects that often. It's the only time they rely on effects are when they're going past like a frozen city or the frozen airplane at the bottom of the gorge, or like anytime you're looking outside of the train, that's a animated image, and it's kind of noticeable, but it's not that bad. So this movie was fun to watch. I enjoyed it. I like, as soon as the movie started and they kind of introduced the idea that there were all these people on the train and it was just going around and we're at the back and the back is shit and they have it so good up at the front. I was like, well, I kind of really want to see how the front goes and how things work up there and how life is there. I was far more interested, and this actually carries through the entire story. I was far more interested in the way daily life worked on a train, and like how it was actually self-sustainable, like how they could have that many chickens on a train is actually a little bit more interesting to me than a revolution story.
Yeah.
I like the one with the fish.
Right, the aquarium car.
train. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that kind of stuff, like really what I kind of wanted out of this movie was like they go car by car and explain exactly how everything works.
So you wanted a Cribs episode.
Yeah, I wanted Tilda Swinton to take me on a Cribs episode through the
I'm
train.
Wilford, and welcome
Oh
to
yeah,
my
Wilford,
crib.
yeah.
That would be so awesome.
Oh yeah, speaking of my dad, and last week, or in a couple weeks ago, speaking of my dad, obviously, always.
Yep.
So,
That's how you
so
roll.
last week, or it was a couple weeks ago, we talked about how my dad looks a little bit like Paul Simon. Well, when James was saying that my dad looks a little bit like Paul Simon, the other person, like if you go okay, he kind of looks half like Paul Simon, and if you want to get the other half to like combine it with my dad, it's Ed Harris.
Oh man!
So if you combine Ed Harris and Paul Simon, that's my dad.
I've met his dad, and I can verify this.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's like on par.
That's a unique combination.
Yeah. Well, so
so is his
person.
dad.
we're gonna look, guys. Anytime I can bring up my dad on this podcast, I'm gonna do it. So there. So anyway, the movie was kind of violent. I've talked about this before in the
might be a little,
maybe a little. I've talked about this before in episodes. I'm a little more sensitive to violence than I think most people, and I think definitely more than other people on this podcast. Mm-hmm. So, like the scene where they just roll up on the car that has all the guys in hoods and axes. That fucking axe fight was fucking brutal. Like,
Yes.
it really was. I did not like watching that at all.
Ugh, yeah.
So eventually we get to the end of this movie, and like, you know, this movie, it's a pretty, other than the concept, they're all on a train. It's a pretty simple revolution story, and you know, the only new thing about this story is that they're all on a train, and that's where they live. But everything else we've kind of seen before. Like there's Oz behind the curtain that's kind of running shit. There are his henchmen. There are the upper class that like totally look down on the lower class. The lower class that want to break out of their station. They're being told to stay in their station. We've seen all these things before a billion times in a billion different movies, in a billion different stories. It's a pretty standard story, except that they're on a train.
Yep.
The Hunger Games on a train.
Yes. So we get to the very end, and we've got Wilfred, and we meet Oz. We peel back the curtain, and there's the great and powerful Oz. And all the shit that he was saying really made sense to me. Like, okay, so we get to the ending scene, and, like, Chris Evans is there, and he's talking to Wilfred, and I'm like, I agree with Wilfred on all of these cases? Like, So, like, Wilfred is talking to him, and he's convincing him that what he's doing is right. Like, look, this is a closed ecosystem. We cannot support more people than we can. Like, if like we really do need to cull the population. This is how we survive. We have to cull the population. I'm sorry. It sucks. It would be nice if you could all live, but you can't. Like, that's actually kind of understandable to me.
You know what you should do instead of living?
Right. So like he's saying that, and I'm like, yes, this makes complete sense to me. Like, obviously the caste system that they have set up is shitty, and they probably shouldn't be doing that. But that
was unnecessary.
Right, it was. But the thing that drove our protagonist over the edge is when they find out that they have kids helping the engine be perpetually in motion.
Well, kids should carry their own weight.
Look, as long as that kid can grow up and have a healthy, long life.
I don't think he's gonna, because he's like cramped in that little thing, shoving grease in there.
Well, you can get it. Look,
you can get another kid. You're right.
Oh.
It wasn't that bad. I didn't think it was that bad.
What?
I'm gonna get back to that. Later.
I didn't think the kids pulling the crap out of the engine was that bad.
Well, I honestly didn't either. But
like, and it was.
I thought you were trying to defend against that. I'm like, what? I like the one that crawls out of nowhere and then crawls into the engine. That one, wait, he's like so trained that.
Yeah,
like...
he was obviously brainwashed, and that wasn't good. Yeah. But like
that kid was just like, time to make the numbers.
So they were Tilda Swinton and Ed Harris throughout the movie were making that motion with their hands where they like put a couple fingers out, twisted it, and pulled something out. And obviously they were talking about everybody has their place, and those kids have their place in the engine, making sure that we can all survive.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I didn't think that Ed Harris was that bad of a guy. Obviously the caste system was shitty, but you know, this is post-apocalyptic. We got to do what we got to do to survive. I think the train should have kept rolling. Mm-hmm. And you could just work out the caste system to a better thing, like the revolution.
Better equilibrium.
Yeah, a better equilibrium. The people at the back and the people at the front, you can just kind of spread it out, and nobody has to live in shit, and also nobody can just sit around and fucking snort toxic waste all day, and that's all you do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know,
or whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah, well, yeah, Chronal.
Jumping at you, Chronal.
Yeah, so like the movie was fun to watch. Some of the decisions by some of the characters I didn't really understand, but I didn't need to. It's high concept fiction. It's just kind of it's buy the ticket, take the ride, and that's kind of how I felt about the movie.
I would like to say something about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Buy the ticket, take the ride.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I had an opportunity to do a little research on the source material. All the people in the back didn't buy tickets.
Yeah.
They
say that in the movie.
Were allowed on the train. So let's think about it this way. We have all the people in the front of the train who are passengers. And everyone on the end of the train who are technically free riders.
Okay, you're about to devolve into a political argument with James. Like that's about to happen.
Hold on.
Let's not make this a political episode. Let's just not do it.
No.
Okay.
I'm not trying to make this a political episode. I'm trying to say everything they did wrong.
Okay.
Okay. So I might as well launch into my stuff because I was trying to aim to snipe into this. I assume you're done, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Title, Snowpiercer. Subtitle, Al Gore fucked up.
What did I say about that making it political?
And it wasn't Al Gore.
Yeah.
He didn't launch those bombs in his face.
Yeah, he didn't launch the
He
crazy.
fucked up. He didn't stop them.
In 2101, Al Gore was beginning.
He probably made another movie and let them launch. Anyway, that's
We're
not where I was
blaming
going.
people for things that they didn't do now. That's
Exactly.
Okay.
That's why it's
I
funny.
just want to make sure
God
I was on the
damn
same
it,
page.
you guys.
Uncomfortable Snowpiercer.
Well, Chris,
Let's start by getting the obvious out of the way. Mechanical failure. 17 years, it's mechanical failure that would doom the train, not class riot. Now, we saw a little bit of this, in that they had minor things go, quote, extinct, which I hate the fact that they use extinct to refer to, like, mechanical parts. Because
or like
it's not
objects.
correct.
They have so much on that train, you'd be able to reforge a part.
Hold on, I'm not there yet.
Good.
So, it would be mechanical failure way before a class riot. Now, they even say that this is not the first attempt for the free riders, as I said, trying to make attempts to attempts to overwhelm the train and get to the front, right?
Right.
were these free riders loaded onto the train?
Might as well say
No, they were given an opportunity to not die.
Yeah.
Would you say that they were free loaded?
Chris, were they welfare recipients? Should they have needed to take chronol tests before they got on the train?
If I had my way.
Okay, that's the last political joke. I'm the only one that
I wasn't going there.
Fair enough.
So let's take a step back, ignore the obvious, and point out the key to this story that the filmmakers felt unnecessary to portray. In the comic the movie is based on, it explains why it is in fact so difficult for someone to walk the entire length of this train.
Yeah, Wilfred hasn't even done it.
Right. In the movie, you see all of like maybe 20 cars, and you get the impression that it's maybe 100 cars.
Yes.
It's 1,001 cars long.
Ah.
Doesn't that make more sense?
Yeah.
Why no one has achieved a full revolution? Why no one has walked from one end to the other? How they have enough space between the front and the end that they can keep people at one or the other.
Yeah.
Okay, filmmakers don't do any decent job of portraying that.
Oh, not at all.
Not to mention, it's not the only train of its kind.
Oh.
In the film, they actually say that this is like the last-ditch effort. This is the last of humanity, apparently on like 100 cars, not 1,000 cars. And not on 1,000 cars, while there are many other like this also running around.
Okay.
So you're saying in the original concept, the world is full of trains just like
Yes.
this one that have like 1,000 cars.
Snowpiercer is just one of them.
That's a totally fucking different thing. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
Holy shit.
so that's what the filmmakers decide is totally unnecessary to this story, which actually make the story a lot better and makes a fuck ton more sense.
Yep.
Anyway, forget all of that.
Okay.
Yeah, because
So
I didn't know it beforehand. So
Well,
it should
forget
be
it.
easy.
Everything you just said was
Everything's
pointless.
back to normal.
Like this movie.
So as I was saying before, the people in the upper class were passengers. They paid to be on the train, and the people that were in the back were essentially welcomed, quote, onto the train. And the weird part about this is not only were they accepted onto the train, granted they go through tons and tons of turmoil since there wasn't really the resources being levied for them to live even on this train, but you have to admit, Wilford still built an entire assembly plant to give them a ongoing supply of food. Not gonna argue what the food was made out of, especially when everyone else was eating fucking steaks and salmon.
It's not that bad. Eating bugs is not that bad. No, it's really not.
That was the least disgusting part of this movie.
Yes, it really was.
Don't ask how the hot dogs are made.
Yeah.
I love hot dogs.
All right, so but the people in the back of the train find themselves in dire situation and quite ridiculous and probably longer lasting than they anticipated. Right. You know, let's admit that. So you can't say you jumped on the train. All right, we're going to take a quick once over. Maybe it'll be a year. We can deal with a year. 17 years later, that they want a little bit more than this non-existence, and that they were offered. And I think that the real issue is instead of trying to put the free riders to work so that if nothing else, they would be a little bit more content, a little less restless, they just let them become more trouble with being a downtrodden idle hand.
Yeah.
Because they don't put them to work. They don't give them actual things to do unless they steal them to entertain the rich people. Now, forcing them into jobs to amuse the passengers being the real people, however,
you can make them put on a minstrel show?
was not the right way to go.
Yeah.
They really should have developed like a serfdom, some sort of indentured servitude paying for their fare with, a very strict population control. Because, well, let's face it, that was one of Wilford's things. He pushed the riots and everything, not only to clear out some of the free riders, but also some of the main populace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he really should have had more of a control over population, like birth.
Yes.
Like, people should just, pull out.
Yeah, if you're in a train.
Snowpiercer, pull out.
Right?
that's the motto.
That's my porn name, Snowpiercer.
We're about to go on a tunnel. It's a big one.
Yeah, if you're controlling the entire ecosystem of a train, you can sterilize your populace.
You have access to the water supply? Yeah. So they should have developed a serfdom. Indentured servitude. Okay, I already went through that, didn't I?
Yep.
Yes, you did.
With
God
strict
help you
as
ever get put in charge.
Population controls, and assumedly some sort of apprentice-type system to perpetuate knowledge for maintaining train and sport.
Yeah. Especially sport.
That's what the college is called. Perpetuate knowledge to maintain train.
I graduated. I have a diploma.
I have knowledge perpetuated.
So the way the movie makes it play out is that this motherfucker was smart enough to foresee a global catastrophe, but not the inevitable societal breakdown stemming from the quality of life divergent from the passengers and the free riders. Mm-hmm. Except that 17 years, well, probably sooner than that, he starts creating riots to break this down. Yeah, that's gonna go well. He had time to build some sort of magical Uber train that can run for 17 years without, as that we're aware of, any maintenance performed on any of the external mechanical parts, like fucking wheels.
Yeah.
Parts that are the most likely to wear down over time.
No, yeah, they just have people going out there and greasing the wheels.
Right. And never coming back.
Right.
But, doesn't have replacement parts for key items like an automatic greasing system.
Well, no, the teacher said he over-engineered the train. I mean,
they said he over-engineered the train, and yet they're replacing parts of the train with children. This is my point. That's part of the engineering. Or did not have the forethought to build an engine compartment with a maintenance access for, I don't know, an adult.
Yeah, that really should be one of the cars.
So,
fuck Jeffrey tubes, man. They should in Star Trek.
So to recap, here's what they need: a store of replacement parts, or have onboard facilities to manufacture replacement parts.
Or a midget.
Hold on.
3D
Have a
printer.
master journeyman apprentice system in place to perpetuate knowledge and, well, once again, replace things, ingratiate the free riders into some semblance of belonging in the community. I mean, after generation, the old bias
that would be a good thing
are
to
going to
do.
disappear.
Yes,
Because, I mean,
you're right.
ideally you want them to, people to do jobs
You want people
work
to
their
fuck.
way into it. And,
Want them to
there's
intermarry.
that, too.
James, as LCD as possible.
Better planning of their maintenance corridors, population control, better security, and obviously on the back and forth with what's his name, there were some. The security holes were brazen because he was trying to incite the riot and to cause all this stuff. But if he had any of this forethought, he wouldn't have had to. And I think. Well, even if that was the case, he had open security for the back half, which they were supposed to be able to get through. What about the front half that, included him that he didn't want them to get through? Yeah. Right? Now, with all that, my real question for you about this entire movie, and mind you, I actually enjoyed the movie. I just don't think it should have gotten as much praise as it did because it was not a fantastic movie. No. It wasn't even a great movie. It was an okay movie and almost a good movie.
Dare you.
Agree.
Shut up, Colin. With all the money, all the evident time he had to build this super mega uber awesome train, why didn't he build a giant underground structure that you wouldn't have to maintain mechanical parts?
Yeah.
Because he liked trains.
Fuck you, John. I'm right.
No, I'm serious. That's his thing. He
I
trains.
agree. And to be fair, once again, looking into it, the train was not built as a response to the catastrophe. The train was built for people to live on, like people live on cruise ships.
They actually discussed that in the movie as well.
Yeah. Because in the movie, they also say that he built it because he foresaw the catastrophe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I read into that being propaganda.
Yes, I was going to say, they do say that. I was going to say it was stated by a character that I also believe was propaganda. I just want to point that out. That it's fucking ridiculous.
By a character that was knocked up by Wilfred himself.
Was she really?
Yeah, that's his baby.
Oh. But good for him.
The teacher.
Oh, is that what you got on it?
He's banging Alison Pill. I'm all right with that.
In the source material. That's his baby.
Okay.
This is based off a comic, Colin.
Yes. So anyway,
Wilfred?
that's my point. And yeah, he likes trains. I'm okay with the train thing. I think the train thing is okay. I wrote out all of my review, all my thoughts on this, defending the whole thing to a train until I just had this epiphany after talking to a friend of mine. I'm like, the biggest, 90% of the problems are other than, social that they're going to run into is support and maintenance of this behemoth. It's a lot easier
to go 100 miles an hour.
It's a lot easier to maintain something that doesn't move.
Yep.
A plane.
A boat.
Sky piercer.
A boat that's just frozen in place like a building.
Frozen Boat, the movie.
To that's everything that it was wrong with this movie that I would have done differently, and I would say correctly. I would also like to say once again that I watched it initially, thought it was stupid as fuck, rewatched it, kind of got a better idea of it, and enjoyed it a little bit better, and I am going to hunt down the comic and read it because it sounds a whole lot better.
Yeah, it's an interesting premise. It really is.
I just want to say, Chris, this is not the first movie where your whole solution to the problem in the movie is that they just made a different movie instead.
That's because I'm right, and they're very, very wrong. You know what? You know what, Fraser? All you have to do is admit you're wrong. And that sums up an entire half-hour episode. I'm just saying.
Chris, you're off my post-apocalyptic team, sir.
I'm sorry. I'm going to make the post-apocalypse fucking work. Enjoy dying, John.
Chris Arsenault, benevolent ruler.
Exactly.
Look, of us
five, zombie apocalypse.
I would team up with Chris. And here's
we'd have
the deal.
A giant castle with working electricity.
Yeah, me and Chris's post-apocalyptic team would be the most productive one. Because both of us know how to fix shit. And know how to stay alive.
We'd have the internet and porn.
Well,
You would need it too.
I'm not gonna lie. I would probably fall down a hole somewhere. Within the
You get
first
stuck
week.
like, oh man.
Yeah,
I don't trust this. I don't trust this because I think Chris's zombie apocalypse plan is let's just not have any zombies.
Hey, don't fuck with me. I have a zombie apocalypse plan.
I'm not surprised. My zombie apocalypse plan is hunt Chris and eat his brains.
Because you would be a zombie.
Well, you would get the power of Chris, like from Ravenous.
Colin, would you like to go next?
Sure, I'd love to. Thank you very much. I really liked this movie a lot. I had it recommended to me several times. I actually was also going to choose Snowpiercer to review.
Hooray! We're like-minded.
Go, John! I mean, wait, what?
And it was, of course, recommended by a listener, and apparently another listener who was stealthily listening and never told me. But,
Ooh.
yeah, so big shout out to Chaz if you're listening.
Go, Chaz! Secret listener!
Yeah, Chaz.
Chaz Bono?
But, yes, Chaz Bono.
Did he die?
Eric.
This
That's
podcast is
Sonny Bono. I'm talking about his...
I'd be much more impressed if we had ghost listeners.
It's even better when you're dead.
They're actually
John hates
funny!
movies. Don't let death stop you.
I had this movie suggested to me, and I looked it up months ago, and I kind of went, what? Because we're living on a giant train. I don't know. I thought the concept of this movie when I heard about it was really stupid, and I was like, this is another one of those, like, capitalizing on steampunk things, isn't it?
No, it's a fun concept.
It is. Well,
the concept is my favorite part of the movie, honestly.
Well, and I ended up really liking it. But viewer beware if you can't get on board with the concept of humanity lives on a giant train and it's really snowy. Like, if you can't get behind that, you're just not gonna.
You're barking up the wrong tree.
Well, you're not gonna push play.
Yeah.
You're not gonna watch it because once you push play, you're actually gonna see a movie that, for having such a ludicrous concept, is pretty enjoyable. Probably not an Academy Award winner, but I really liked this one from start to finish. Well, maybe right after the start, because the whole, the environment is being totally stomped upon by mankind, and yada, yada, yada. I thought that was a little heavy-handed, especially that the first visual you see is just chemtrails, and I was like,
yeah, that
really?
was good. That was
funny, though. Yeah, that was awesome.
I'm alone in my apartment watching it, having a beer, and I just yelled out, chemtrails!
Everybody with their fucking conspiracy theories about chemtrails fucking jerked off at that.
They're all hitting the person next to them, going, "See,
Right.
see, it's real. It's real because I saw it on Snowpiercer, a movie about a giant train."
A movie about real things.
Yes, a movie about things that really might happen someday. So, but I really did like it. I thought the visuals were pretty solid. It had my two favorite Korean actors in it. I have the names in front of me. We saw them already. Kang Ho-sung and Ah Sung-ko, both in the host, both of whom are very strong in the host. Kang Ho-sung, particularly, if you've seen the host and you watch this movie, he has a great range. He does a great job because the characters he plays in these two movies could not be more different.
Yeah, so when you said my two favorite Korean actors, I wanted to be like, what? No love for the two Koreans from Lost, but this guy does have way more range.
No love for them. Not that I dislike them; they're fine. It's just Kang Ho-sung is really good. I really enjoy his work.
Yeah.
I also really enjoy John Hurt. I've liked him in everything that I can think of.
The storyteller.
Oh, yeah.
That one I don't know, but
It's also on Netflix.
but I sure loved him in. Say what you will about V for Vendetta. I loved him in V for Vendetta.
Yep.
And I liked that movie anyway, and I liked Snowpiercer.
Or his other film, Chest Piercer.
I get it, because Alien,
Right.
he was the guy in it. Yeah!
I saw the opportunity and I took it.
Yeah! And the Cowboys came and they were like, what? Michael Bain was like, I left the Old West for this. And then, yeah. Oh, no, that was Aliens. Sorry.
Yep.
That was a reference to an earlier episode of John Hates Movies, everybody. I would probably... And if you were listening, you would know that. No, sorry.
Hey, Spider friends, if you're wondering what he's talking about...
Spidey number 63. I decided watching this movie, I would, at this point, probably watch Chris Evans in just about anything. I really like him.
Even the Fantastic Four.
I was even okay with that he ate babies.
Yeah, I mean, this guy makes eating babies look good.
Right.
Speaking of eating babies,
Yeah.
as soon as whatever this setting's version of the mysterious food cube rolled out, I just went, well, those are people.
Yeah.
I was very glad that they weren't.
Me too.
And
Yeah.
then they brought it back, and there was baby eating anyway. And I was like, wow, it's the best of all worlds. Well, and I appreciate that it wasn't about the protein bar being disgusting or some great injustice or whatever. Like, these guys don't really care for protein bars, but the protein bar is just a feature of the setting. It's not. This movie is not about people eating something disgusting. So, when you see the protein bar is kind of a red herring, and I kind of appreciated that. Eric said the effects were kind of subpar, but I
said they were mediocre.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know.
What I meant was they were mediocre.
I thought they were pretty solid. Like, I actually thought the effects were very tastefully done. Maybe the only cheesy one was the "oh my god, there are bugs."
Yeah.
That was the only one that I thought was a little bit cheesy. But I do agree with Eric that I'm also very sensitive to violence. And that door opened, and you saw the ski masks and the axes. And before any violence started, I just sort of balled up on the couch, and I went, "Oh no!"
Yeah.
Funny, I went, "Oh yeah."
Oh man, no! I braced myself because from what we'd seen so far, I was like, this is the kind of movie where I don't think they're going to shy away from this, and I'm going to have to watch a giant, brutal axe fight. The hand motion that a couple of the staffers of the train do was mentioned, and I wondered that, like, if there was a thing going on where the people that have to hide out in the engine or, like, do stupid mechanical stuff, because they all know this motion, which means it seems like...
Yep, it's ubiquitous.
Yeah, people know this motion. I'm wondering if these kids work in the engine until they get too big, and then they get a ticket to the front of the train.
Yeah,
well, it had only been 17 years.
That's what I.
Is that what you?
They never said
no,
that.
They never.
I
do
assumed
say
that they stayed in there until they got too old and then were eaten by the gears and thrown out the train.
You mean they lubricate the gears with their blood?
That was never even kind of suggested, though.
That was
they never said
suggested.
different.
Well, this is what I
thought.
thought.
They just said we're using these kids.
Okay. Well, they never said different that they weren't eaten by dinosaurs either. I mean, come on, we're happening stuff.
But it's full
They
of
threw them in the fish tank.
It's full of red herrings.
Yeah.
Fucking Al Gore.
It's full of red herrings about the kids, though. You have
it kinda
food
is.
cubes, and then kids get taken away. Like, what are you supposed to think? And then you get up to, and then Chris Evans is all like, "One time I tried to eat a baby, it was terrible," And then he goes into the next room.
No, he said it was delicious.
Well, yeah. Like
he said that babies taste the best.
He says it's delicious. Like, babies taste the best. It was an awful experience, but delicious. So, and then he goes into the next room, and he's gone through the entire train, and we haven't found the children yet, and Wilford is eating some kind of meat. They were really, like, someone's eating children, like, this whole movie. I think that the kids are not eaten or thrown out, or they don't freeze their heads off. I think that they are made into some of the upperclassers and probably the staffers of the train. I assumed that the girl in the yellow coat had previously worked the gears. That's what I thought. She was
Why she was so weird?
Yeah, because she was weird. Maybe. She was pretty young, and she was obviously, like, totally, no pun intended, she was totally riding the Wilford train mentally. Like, unquestioning brainwashy style loyalty, doesn't even really speak to anybody else.
Would make sense.
Yeah, that could be a logical thing that happened to the teacher as well.
That's sort of what I think, because how old do you think that teacher was? Do you think that... I think it's reasonable to say she's early 20s, so she could have been 4 or 5 when the train set sail,
Here's my thing. Here's my thing about this.
John really doesn't like this kid talk.
Yeah, well, I mean, I actually, this was the one part of the movie that really disturbed me, and I don't mean to interrupt you, so I'll just say this. I don't think you're right, Colin, and I don't think you're right because they didn't use rich people kids.
So, John touched on this in the intro of the show. The last shot of the movie, they step outside into the great white wilderness, and they show this polar bear, which I'm sure was intended to like show the majesty of nature surviving in this harsh climate or something. But the polar bear looks at them. The thing is, definitely a fucking idiot. Polar bears are relentless hunters, and they will track you for weeks. And they can smell you like a mile off over the cold, and they are relentless. They don't stop. I read the end of the movie as, and they finally got off the great train of being, and we're eaten by a polar bear.
Hey, you don't know, maybe the polar bear looked at them and was like, I just ate.
And I'd love to eat you, but I just filled up on penguins. I'll eat you later.
They were tasty. Yeah. Penguin poppers.
All right. So, I really like this movie. I thought it was really cool. Don't think too much about really any of it. Just enjoy.
So don't make up your own story.
Yeah. Don't make up like how it would have been cooler if they all had just played baseball and not polluted, and then the environment would have been fine, and everything's cool. And then it just becomes Field of Dreams in the end. Yeah, I thought it was the visuals were good. I thought if you can get behind the concept, the writing therein was fairly solid. The actors do a good job. I thought it was a really cool movie. I would watch it again. I'll watch it with you if you buy beer.
Ladies.
I also drink wine, and I don't have anything else for that. I thought I would come out a lot funnier. I'm sorry.
The French!
The French!
So, James.
Snowpiercer, yeah. A movie about, like, a big fighter dude and, like, his buddy with, like, no arm and shit. And I really loved this movie. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was sweet when his buddy comes back and he's got the robot arm and he fires that fucking mine that's got like the magnet on it, goes under the car. The car flips over like a million times. And then like, you know, later on when they're like fighting and he like punches his shield and his arm's like, you know, like pushes him back like super far.
You're talking about a Captain America movie that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because Chris Evans was in it.
And then at the very end, like, you know, when he's like trying to like upgrade like with the new graphics cards and like the ship and they're like fighting each other and shit. And he's like, I won't fight you. I'm with you to the end of the line. And I'm like, oh dude, like I'm sitting there crying. I'm like, wake up, army guy. See, like that's like a, that's a double entendre right there. You see, because he's like a soldier and he's, you know, got one arm, so army guys.
Oh.
See, I can be clever too. It can happen sometimes.
When does that start?
Fuck you, Colin.
Sorry.
You want beef too?
I mean,
I don't have beef. I have smashed up bugs.
I suppose this movie could have been called The Winter Soldier.
Damn, the obvious. That was good.
Oh, dang.
So, yeah, this movie. Yeah, the only thing better than Chris Evans in this movie is John Hurt.
Yeah.
And that's about it. I didn't like this movie that much. Yeah, like, the characters were completely two-dimensional. Like, there was nothing to them. There was, like, no sort of personality to Chris Evans's character whatsoever.
He cried a lot.
Yeah, at the end, he cried a lot.
Yeah, that whole scene with him outside of Wilfred's door was completely unnecessary.
Yeah. I love Chris Evans, like a super bunch. And
a super bunch.
Yeah, I'll just say, you know, I mean, the Stark super soldier serum did some amazing things.
No, he's
in your pants.
Like, for starters, it made me gay.
This review has gone off
shoulders.
The rails.
To get into the meat of this thing, like the action, I did not find that interesting. We often talk about, like, in general movie parlance that, you know, show, don't tell. This was the exact opposite of that, almost to the point of detriment, where, like, they just, like, I can be for a movie just dropping you into shit. and waiting to explain stuff to you or to like show you something to kind of illuminate what the fuck is going on. But like, there are just things in this movie that make no sense when you're fucking watching it and aren't necessarily like completely like, okay, the biggest thing, I mean, like, there's a couple lines, like, obviously, like, when he's like, oh, you gotta lead these guys, Curtis. Why he has to lead them, I don't fucking know. But he has to, because he's the chosen one. You know, he's got the fucking birthmark or some shit.
No, that mark that they're talking about is when he thought about cutting off his own arm.
No, yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I get all that, like, I got that later, but when I was watching it, like, through the first time, and he's like, I can't lead these guys, I got 2 arms. I'm like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? It's like, yeah, you can lead them twice as good as a guy with 1 arm.
You can shoot them with 2 guns at once.
You can point in 2 directions and lead 2 groups.
You guys go here, and you guys go
there.
Otherwise, everyone's always following you.
So, okay. But the biggest, like, grievous offense, in my opinion, of this, in this movie, because they did kind of explain everything, almost everything at the end. Obviously, because we're still having a debate over what the hell they did with the kids, that was something that wasn't explained, but...
well, it didn't need to be. It wasn't pertinent.
No, it didn't need to be, but, you know, still, nonetheless. We felt the need to... we all formed something in our head.
Yeah, we got into it,
yeah.
but I didn't think that they were disposed of afterward.
Well, anyway, when they walk in, when they open up that door, okay, fucking psychic girl, why?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because
like,
this was written by Stephen.
That's a wonderful question.
A storytelling cop-out worthy of Mr. King.
Exactly, yeah. It was completely not needed and bullshit, because is this a fantasy film? Or is it not?
It's not.
Yeah. So let's not have that shit, please.
Correct.
It's a fantasy film in that
Here.
If you can believe everything else in this film, you can believe someone is psychic.
You can believe Al Gore fucked us all.
After he invented the internet 3.0. Well, anyway.
And then let us sub-zero nuke ourselves.
Yeah. Like, the people I was watching it with, they had issues with, like, why are they even on a fucking train? And I thought they explained that pretty well. I seriously... The fact that the guy wanted to build a train that could cross the entire world,
yeah,
you would have to build it super crazy in order to even have a train that could fucking do that.
Wait.
So it would make sense.
Are they still on a train?
Yeah.
Wait, why are they
James,
why didn't they
whoever
just
you
drive?
watch this with, and I have probably a decent idea who, you just did them a great disservice.
Where are they going? You'd think we would have got there by now.
Okay, now, like, during Chris's review, this came up, and it actually answered a thing for me that I had an issue with this movie, which they didn't fucking explain. Why the fuck were they going 300 miles per hour?
To pierce the snow, James.
There was no... Bullshit.
No.
If it's a strong train, you can keep it going. You could fucking butt up against a wall of ice and just keep the train spinning its wheels, and the ecosystem would still keep fucking moving, because all you need to get the train to run is a fucking engine.
But if it's like a supercharged nuclear engine, the speed was actually probably functioning as a cooling system for the engine.
And it was a perpetual
They're in a frozen...
Machine. No, the train was a perpetual motion machine. Like, it was a super advanced future technologies perpetual motion machine. It wasn't nuclear. It wasn't coal. It was perpetual motion.
Definitely not coal.
We're all speculating here, but honestly, Chris's explanation from the comic made the most sense, that there were other trains out there, which means that they would be sharing the track, which means they couldn't slow down because another train would run into them.
And that is true, because there is a second comic to it that they perpetuate that Snowpiercer is out there running around to perpetuate the fear of a collision. To help, push fear into the populace to help maintain control over the populace.
Yep. So the biggest what the fuck moment, they open up the door, there's a bunch of dudes with fucking like those weird masks where... non-functional masks where only their mouth is open.
No. A bunch of them have only their mouth, and then some of them have it over their eyes. I'm like, did they not get instructions on how balaclavas work?
How to wear a mask?
Here's a mask, here's an X. Here's a mask, here's an X.
When do I get a gun? Fuck you.
Here's a mask. Here's an axe.
I told you you're not getting a gun until you tell me your name.
Why are we on a train again?
Would it make more sense to be in a building?
Yeah.
You're going to go back to sleep, Ralph. Why do we have to go so fast? Shut up.
So this movie, if you want to fucking speculate, this is a fucking movie for you. Because
Absolutely.
it's a bunch of fucking shit. Why
the first thing I said was speculative fiction.
Because when they opened that up, I was thinking, okay, this is like a different group who became a crazy fucking cultist and were locked away on like a different area of the train, and were only locked up because they can't fucking deal with them. They were just sequestered.
Yeah, the bat cars are Australia.
We're the axe and mask cult.
More like Scientologists appeared in the middle of the fucking middle class sections. A bunch of people turned, they all got really fucking weird, and they started axing other people, and so they were like, okay, we can push them into the cargo train and just lock them away. They can live there, we'll drop food in there, and they'll just live by themselves.
I'm glad we're picking on Scientologists.
Hold on. You said ask them to join the cult?
I think I
I thought you said, and then it started.
Yeah.
Here's a mask, here's an axe.
Here's a mask, here's an axe.
Okay,
if someone's like, join my religion, here's a mask, here's an axe, I'm like, okay, Sunday you say.
When they asked me to pick a mask or an axe, I said, why not both? Join me, brothers.
Wait, are you on a train? Why are you on a train?
What stop are we getting off at? There is no stop. That doesn't
Nobody
make any
cared
sense.
about me until I put on the mask.
You were born. You adopted the train. I was born into it. Finally, get to my point. The entire thing was really bizarre. The person I was with, who saw the movie before, was like, "No, they're just pretty much doing like the Immortals from 300, but weird."
Yes.
And then they do the whole fucking ceremony with a fish, which was pointless and dumb and made no sense.
If I were the people from the back of the train and I saw them doing that to an actual fish, because it hasn't been so long that you don't know what a fucking fish is, you're like,
it's been
they're a fish?
Yeah, it's been 17 years since I've seen a fish.
You're like, fucking give me that fish.
Yeah, it's like, dude.
I'll take an axe to the hand to get a fish.
For a second, I thought that it was just going to be that these guys were chopping up fish for people to eat in here, and I don't know, and
weird,
they wore ski masks because I don't know, fashion.
They're weird.
Cool.
Yeah, no, it's just some stupid ritual that there's blood already on your ass.
So no, they turn around. The dude takes a fish, shows them the fish, turns around, and then chucks out 1 million fish to the poor people, and surprises Jesus.
Now that's a twist.
What a twist!
What's he doing?
That was the point that you've been building up to?
No, that wasn't.
That was your point.
That was a sub. That was a sub joke. He's getting to the joke.
So I was like, okay, it's still fucking weird. They're not going to explain these guys. They're just special forces, just weirdos. Okay, then they go in the tunnel. These fucking people, they put on
Night vision
goggles. No, you wear the masks over your eyes so that when you go in the tunnel, you take the mask off. You can fucking see. The other guys who've been blinded by the fucking snow light can't. You fucking kill them. That's why you're wearing the mask over your eyes. What the fuck are you thinking? Night vision? Unnecessary.
I would be thinking I have night vision.
Fucking, oh my god.
The goggles do something.
The goggles, they do nothing.
No,
that would. I'm just saying it would have been cool if they pirated
the pirate, exactly, the eye patch. Yeah,
yep, if they pirate eye patch that shit instead of
that would have almost been cooler.
Yeah, instead of doing unnecessary night vision, just like unnecessary psychic girl, and then unnecessary torch kid.
Yeah, all the way from the back.
All of a sudden, this is fucking Mad Max 2 with a kid with a fucking razor boomerang pops out of the fucking hole for The
worst part, they have the blackout. They don't take it and start attacking. They show that scene, and you see all of the
hatchet
people
men
from
don't just
the back
get in
are just
there and,
blindly swinging, and they're just backing up. Dude, that one got really close.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing. They're serious about it.
That was actually one of my favorite scenes. So
I liked it too.
I was actually a huge
I
fan
like
of
that too. It just makes sense that they don't fucking take the opportunity to attack when they have the opportunity to attack.
This is really weird. All of a sudden, Mad Max relay race Torch Kid.
Yeah.
Like, what the? Bring the torch!
Look,
they had the torch set aside.
This movie, like much speculative fiction, does not hold up under scrutiny.
Oh,
no,
it just really does.
Say.
No,
You know, that's just kind of how this kind of fiction is.
Yeah, it's got a bunch of weirdness. Another unnecessary thing that irked me was the evil lady. Like,
Tilda Swinton.
Yep, takes out her teeth. She's got false teeth. No teeth up front. She's got fake teeth. One of them is black.
Yeah, why would you choose to have a black fake tooth?
She's fucking rich. Fucking put some paint on that shit. Obviously, not paint, but, like, why would you have a fucking fake black tooth? There was a lot of things about this that I didn't really care for. Probably the last and the most biggest thing that I didn't like about this movie was the tone it did not maintain. It's like, is this serious or is this, like, outlandish comedy? If this is outlandish, cartoonish, hey, I'm on board. If this is, like, serious, I'm on board. The revolution was, because it was planned, like, there was no real surprise. There was no real twists. There weren't, like, anything really kind of cool like you would get in Spartacus or the Hunger Games, where it's like, holy shit, that shouldn't have worked. Oh, that's cool. But like, when I was watching this movie, one of the first comments that I thought, in the first 15 minutes, there's like a full-out revolution attack. And I'm like, holy shit, that revolution got underway quick. If this is like the Hunger Games, this would be like, it would take 3 movies to get this far. Like...
They did it in one.
Yep, they did it in the first 15 minutes of this one.
They did it because they wasted not that much time on any preamble whatsoever.
No.
Like, they just got into the shitty people.
And they sacrificed all the characters building.
Yeah, they killed
none.
Everybody. They killed everybody by the end.
Sacrificed all the character and the character building.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you didn't give a shit when they died. Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I get that this movie's kind of like, to me almost was like, even for me, God, I really like revolution movies. And I even like movies that are like, heavy-handed metaphors for the capitalist system that we live in. And this, like,
slide that in there.
Yeah, because when I heard about the premise of this movie, I thought the premise was, like, super cool. And I thought I would really like this movie. And it was obviously, like, a little too heavy-handed for me. It could have been stripped down. It's kind of ridiculous to say that this movie could have been stripped down, but it could have been stripped down. Maintain a constant tone throughout.
There could have been even less content.
Yeah. I really should have liked this movie, but I didn't. Like, this movie has everything that I love. I didn't like it.
Has everything loves, doesn't make sense, has axe, mass.
Well, that happens sometimes. Sometimes you bake a cake and instead you get a...
garlic brownie.
Garlic brownie.
What the fuck is this?
Wash it down with some buttermilk.
When he gets what he wants, he doesn't want it anymore.
So, James, I'm going to pick up the reins here.
Yeah, I'm done.
I have a sense that you're pretty much done. I bounced around on this movie. There were parts where I was like, oh, this movie's really awesome. And then there were parts where I was like, why the fuck am I watching this?
Yeah.
This is one of those things where the things that I love about this movie are the visuals and the feel and the pacing, which kind of inadvertently, I didn't know it was by the same guy who did The Host, but has some of those same elements, like the visuals and the pacing and everything like that. I actually liked pretty much almost all of the acting except for Ed Harris. Like Ed Harris, but he's just
he was phoning that one in.
Yeah, he was too
anonymous villain. Like
no emotions whatsoever.
My inner sanctum.
Right, exactly. He was very much a JRPG villain.
Yeah, now we'll have a conversation.
Yep. The plot. Nah.
You and I, we're not so different.
Yeah. The plot, man. The action, man. The special effects, man. But I'm with Eric. I was like, oh, this is kind of crazy cool. Like with the society the way that it is and the train and everything. Kind of wanted to know how it worked. But when I found out that I wasn't going to get to know how it worked, I realized that I just would have to grab the good from this that I could.
Yeah, the train, to me, the train is the most interesting character in this movie.
Yeah.
By far.
But unfortunately, here's the thing that killed it for me. Basically, what it comes down to is, for me personally, is every time I got to the point where I really started to enjoy this movie, the one thing that would happen is I'd be like, well, what the fuck are they doing with the kids? And that was, believe it or not, that was actually kind of a big concern because I just didn't want it to be really, really gross and sick. You know, because that would ruin the entire movie for me.
Oh,
but
yeah.
the only thing that I could think of is that it was going to be gross and sick. So anytime I found myself getting really into a part, like the part where they do the night vision and they go into the long tunnel, I'm like, oh fuck! All of a sudden, it would flash in the back of my head. Where are the children, Johnny? Do you know where the children are?
Have you checked the children?
Yes.
It's 5
o'clock, Johnny.
You know where
are the children?
So,
have you checked the children?
I just realized that John is Helen Lovejoy. Won't someone think of the children?
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, like, that's the thing. And because I had that running narrative through my head, I couldn't get into this movie because the whole time there was one great mystery to solve, which is what the fuck are they doing with these children? And basically every time you thought you were going to get that answer, it was a red herring.
Yep, they weren't food. They weren't in the classroom.
No.
So
They were
They
nothing.
weren't.
He did the same thing in The Host. He likes to do that.
Oh no,
shit.
and he did do the same
He
thing.
likes
in
to
The Host.
hide children.
Yep.
And
He's like, you thought I killed them, didn't you? You sick fuck.
which he did most of them, but yeah. So I mean, like that's the thing.
He killed one of them.
Yeah, no, he killed the daughter. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean that's.
Hey, spoil one movie at a time.
Hey. But yeah, I mean that's the thing. You said this whole scenario. This was a movie where there's a lot of interesting going on, but depending on what your mind grabs onto first, you could very well it can get ruined very quickly. This movie is a hollow egg. It's perfect and pristine as long as you don't do anything with it.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm John from John Hates Movies. War, famine, disease, child hunger. These things are bad.
Forget all that! I'm Guy Fieri for John Hates Movies. We're rolling out to factories in Indonesia. We're working around the clock to supply merchandise for John Hates Movies. You want a tally-ho coffee mug? John Hates Movies.
For the price of a cup of coffee or a pair of shoes, you could buy us a cup of coffee or a pair of shoes.
You want a I Roll with Eric's Dad t-shirt? John Hates Movies.
The John Hates Movies merchandise store! I'm losing my mind over here!
You want a Flarp Industries Turbo Lawn t-shirt? John Hates Movies.
When I visit at the John Hates Movies store, I just want the product so bad, I sometimes get the urge to slam my face into the monitor and just, it's not that I want to kill myself or I'm depressed, I just get this uncontrollable urge. I feel as an artist you'd understand.
So that's it for John Hates Movies merchandise store.
Click the link on our website or on our Facebook page.
Or visit www.cafepress.com/John Hates Movies. And thank you for buying us more money.
$2 go on my dick. Right on my dick. Put the money on my dick.
Gah, those podcasters. They use not one, but 3 of my clients without compensation. Mackie?
Yes, sir.
Send them a letter.
Later, at the law firm of Yeti, Versetti, and Vlarf.
Mr. Vassetti, a letter for ya.
Thanks, Penny. Let's see here.
Dear staff at John Hates Movies, it has come to our attention that you have used the likeness of 3 of our clients in a recent commercial, and we have not received any compensation. I am of course referring to Guy Fieri, Gilbert Gottfried, and Christopher Walken. Please cease and desist any further use of their likeness. Furthermore, we are seeking back pay to the order of $1 million. If you have any objection to this, you may contact our office directly, but be warned, our office is on a moving train. On top of a 20-story tall jungle gym, on top of a mountain in Bangladesh. If we do not hear from you in 48 hours, we will assume you find these terms agreeable. Sincerely, Mart Mackey from Mackey and Machine.
Ha! They don't know who they're dealing with.
P.A. Varsetti.
Fighting for the interests of Yeti, Versetti, and Vlarf, world-renowned parkour lawyer P.A. Versetti sets out against all misdeeds.
Litigation is my livelihood, but parkour is my passion.
Tonight's episode, Baddies in Bangladesh.
Finally in Bangladesh with only half an hour to go. Let me just wall jump onto this camel here. Ha! Yeah!
Using his exceptional parkour skills, Versetti climbs the mountain in record time.
Now just to climb this jungle gym.
Nearly exhausted, he tenuously stands near the top of the jungle gym. With only 3 minutes left, he waits for the train.
I hear the train coming this way. Now if I time this backflip just right. Yeah!
P.A. Varsetti.
That's right. And I'm delivering this official response.
What? Fair use?
That's right. All celebrity voices were impersonated.
That old chestnut.
There's a reason it's a chestnut. Now, if you'll excuse me, I told my date I'd meet her in the dining car at 7.
Next time, Versetti. Next time.
What crazy antics will our hero get into next? Join us next time on P.A. Versetti, Parkour Lawyer!
All right, everybody, it is time for the game. This week is our listener suggestion appreciation week. And nobody suggested anything.
Oh, shit.
So
Good, you freaked me out.
Apparently the audience really does appreciate
I
it.
actually had one this week.
I think we messed things up when we've changed the format. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just state for the record, this is Modern March. Please give us your suggestions. We're going to pick up listener appreciation again next week. From this point on, listener appreciation is going to be every third podcast where we automatically do your choices. We don't pick any of our own. So please submit. Everyone that you submit, we'll hold on to all of them, and then we will pick from that pool when the listener appreciation arrives. So this week, Eric is running the game. Eric, what have you got for us?
All right, boys. So before the episode, and another spoiler for the third week in the row, we talk before we record these. I asked Chris and John, would you guys like to do 100% improv or 90% improv?
The illusion of choice.
Yes, and they chose 90% improv. So what we're doing this week is... I'm gonna start singing in a second. There he is, Mr. John Hates Movies. There he is, your ideal. The dream of a million boys are more than pretty, can come true in Atlantic City. For he may turn out to be the king of masculinity. All right, boys. We're doing a beauty contest.
Oh, God.
Wait, when you shift the genders of that song, it's so gay. Didn't seem gay before, but now it's really gay.
I'm totally gonna nail this.
Hey, boys. That's right, contestants. This week, you'll be contesting.
America.
You will be competing in the first ever John Hates Movies beauty pageant.
How can we all be losers?
Speak for yourself.
I was.
Okay, so first ever John Hates Movies beauty pageant will be judged on 3 criteria. The first,
girth.
No! Your length and staying power.
Hardness and grindability.
No, not,
here's a sack of oranges.
Not girth, Chris. The first thing you'll be judged on is your talent portion of
We're all boned.
Yeah.
The second thing you will be judged on is your swimwear competition. And the third thing you will be judged on is the interview portion. Okay, so we're going to do this like we've done the other few games that I've run. We're going to all do one category, and then we're all going to do another category, and then we're all going to do the final category. So the first thing you should be thinking about is your talent. What is your talent portion?
I go first.
All right, so welcome to the John Hates Movies beauty pageant. To find who will be this year's Mr. John Hates Movies. Our first category for the night is the talent portion. James. James, that is not very becoming of a young man that wants to be Mr. John Hates Movies. Will you please tell me what your talent is?
Okay, my talent is public speaking. Me and my girlfriend and their family, we were going to a family function, and it was at nature center. All those areas you can rent out, like where Jeff Con is.
Yes, James, I'm familiar with Jeff Con.
Yep. Last weekend we were all in the van and we were driving out there, and something happened, and we were out in the middle of nowhere, and so they call the insurance company, and the tow truck guy shows up, and he looks at it, and he's like, there's no point in towing this. We can just jack it up and get the tire off. We'll change the tire right here. They didn't have the jack that came with the van in the car, and it had this really weird hookup, and the guy didn't have a jack that would work for the van without fucking it up. So he's like, all right, we'll just get in our truck, his big old truck. It's the Wolverine Towing Company.
This is a wonderful talent, James.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting story. Well, we the guy says that he's got a giant collection of jacks and everything. So I measure the peg and I figure out what size we need, and we get in the tow truck, and we drive to the guy's shed, and he's got this shed, and he opens it up, and just jacks everywhere, and that's when I realized the guy from Wolverine is a huge jackman.
No. Okay, so I just want to say that I was having a lot of I was having a lot of trouble.
I'm really disappointed with myself for laughing at
telling
that.
the difference between this and a normal James story.
Oh my god!
And then you finished it, and it was a normal James story.
Oh god!
Hugh Jackman. It's like Hugh Jackman. Okay.
Oh god.
Holy shit!
That's so fucking stupid. That's so fucking stupid. Okay, so next up on the John Hates Movies talent portion is John. John, what's your talent?
My talent is magic.
Okay, show me a magic trick then.
I'm gonna totally show you a magic trick. Pick a card, any card.
Okay, I've done it.
All right, check this out. Is this your card?
Is it the King of Diamonds?
Yes! Is that your card?
That was my card.
Amazing. See? Magic.
Next up on the John Hates Movies beauty pageant is Colin McMillan. Colin, what's your talent portion?
Hi. Well, I used to work at the Renaissance Festival, and I learned a lot of very interesting skills out there. In fact, I learned how to do an entire geek show.
Okay.
But I don't have my chickens with me, so they're recovering from the last show. So I'm going to take this. You'll see here I have a long nail. It's like it's really long. And what?
Yeah, I see it.
And
yeah.
I'm going to take this hammer, and I am going to put this nail through my nose back all the way into my head. And now, trust me, it's safe. It's perfectly safe. Don't try this at home. I am a trained professional.
What do the chickens have to do with this?
Oh, nothing. Don't worry about that. Okay. I'm hammering the nail into my nostril.
Ew.
Okay. It's gonna. Okay, now it's pretty deep in there, but I'm gonna go a little further.
Are you okay?
Hang on. I'm just gonna pull it out. I think it's caught on something.
Are you alive, Colin?
Yeah, I'm good.
Well, that was a lovely talent portion.
Thank you.
Chris, you're... No, what I'm saying, Colin, is that was especially
No,
lovely.
I'm very happy now.
Chris, you're the final contestant for the for the talent portion. What is your talent?
Yeah, I'm going to be juggling flaming chainsaws to the depiction of the shape of the American flag.
Whoa.
What a bitch.
Okay. Oh my god! Chris has 3 chainsaws in the air at once!
Look at it go.
Oh no.
This is a true tribute.
Dismemberment.
Okay,
He
so...
can lead people now.
I'd like to say my new talent is I'm a leader.
Chris, thank you very much for your talent portion of the beauty contest. However, that may hurt you during the swimwear portion of the contest, which is coming up next. Next up on the docket is a...
Docket.
Fucking
Next
docket.
up on the docket. This is a John Hates Movie swimwear competition.
Next up on the docket is the John Hates Movies swimwear competition. First up in the swimwear contest is Colin. Colin, what are you wearing for us tonight?
Hi, I'm back. I was able to clean up, the material that came out of my nostril from the earlier, and I'm good to go. So I am traditional, and I've always been really close with my mother. So I have actually the first swimsuit that she ever made for me, which And it's this little, you can see the little pair of swimmies that you put on the kids' arms. And if you give a feel to that, that's got some heft to it, doesn't it? Isn't it? Do you feel? Go ahead.
Oh, wow, those are really heavy.
Well, my mom filled them with gravel herself, and she also made me this matching lead belt, which is signed by Mom. Look there, my little terror, sink well, love, Mom.
Next up on our swimwear portion of the show, John, tell me what you're wearing tonight.
Well, Eric, I too am a fan of the classics. That is why I have broken out my pink elephant Speedo. As you can see, this fine piece of equipment provides the necessary coverage without
God, my eyes!
any of that unfortunate binding action that you find in most swimsuits in the back.
Chris, what is your swimwear for the evening?
Well, due to recent circumstances, I changed my outfit choice. As you can see, I have a slimming black one-shoulder strap piece.
I love the detail.
I decided to go with a leopard print loincloth motif over it. In that Tarzan King of the Jungle flair.
Okay.
Also with it's open back so I can show off our prison tattoos or tats. Or tats, as we called them.
That's too good. Hey, you lost a lot of weight. I can tell. Did you lose a lot of weight recently?
Finally, on the
an arm and a leg.
Finally, on the John Hates Movies swimwear competition, James, what are you wearing tonight?
I am wearing the latest from the Vlarf swim line.
Oh,
as you can tell, this is for the ocean swimmers of the ocean, as it were, the people who like the Pacific and the surfing. I am, of course, wearing the Vlarf pretzel line of swimsuits.
Oh.
You just swim in the ocean for a little while, you come out, and that salty crust that gets around people's baseball caps, well, this will soak up the salt water, and when you lay down, it will form that nice, delicious crust right on your swimsuit. And and then you just open up your complimentary tin of Vlarf cheese gack. Here, let me just get the can opener and open it right now. Okay. So, you just pour a little on there and approach any of those hot beach bunnies that you see out there, and ask them if they'd like some hot pretzels and cheese, or if you're a listener of John Hates Movies, you can enjoy it by yourself.
I like that one.
Wonderful, boys, wonderful. So for our final portion, and P.S., you're all looking lovely tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
My dangles are well applicated.
even though Colin's at the fucking bottom of the ocean and James is on the beach.
I'm having fun, Mom.
Our final portion of the John Hates Movies beauty pageant is the interview portion. So, John.
Yes?
Who's the most influential person in your life, and why?
That would have to be Shredder from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Because he always tries to get those darn turtles, and he never gives up. Even though Krang is always yelling at him, and he has two buffoons of helpers, Bebop and Rocksteady. He always perseveres, and he's always attempting to do something. I don't know what exactly. I don't think it was ever made clear why he was doing what he was doing.
What was he up to anyway?
I don't
Eat
think
turtle
he
soup.
But I know he wanted to stop them from interfering with his plans, which they never said what his plans were, but he always tried to stop them.
John, that's a wonderful story of perseverance, and thank you for sharing it with us tonight.
You're welcome.
So, John, your second question is, if you won the lottery, what would you do with the money?
I would buy more money, Eric.
I give him that line, and he's literally writing it to the bank.
Damn it.
I am more useful behind the scenes, aren't I?
Chris, you are wonderful behind the scenes and on the scene as well.
I'm pretty on the scene, if you know what I mean.
Karate, train your body.
Okay. Okay. All right. Next up on the John Hates Movies interview portion, James. 60% of Americans can't find Iraq on a map. What would you do to help Americans with global geography?
I feel that this is a very important issue in today's modern America, and maybe the kids over here can go over there in the Afghanistan and the Iraq, and the Afghanistan and the Iraq are having lots of issues, and that maybe if we have maps, you can have maps, I have maps, we can go to the Afghanistan and the Iraq and the other places, and all the other many places that need our help and make a better world.
Okay. Well, thank you, James.
It's very on theme.
Highly accurate.
Thank you very much for that answer, James. I kind of suspect that this next question will be rhetorical.
Shit, I forgot to add and other such.
James, I suspect this next question will be rhetorical, but I will ask it regardless. What will be your greatest contribution to society?
Say and other such.
And other such.
Chris, for your first question of the John Hates Movies interview portion, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In the year 2020.
Yes. That's all?
Full stop.
That's great.
This is my favorite when I practically give Eric a stroke.
Oh, he's got his work cut out for him.
Stroke-inducing joke.
Okay,
All sides.
Chris, follow-up question. All sides? What the fuck are you talking about?
Stroke joke, stroke-inducing joke, all sides.
Chris, if in those next 5 years you won the lottery, what would you do with the money?
I think I would spend it.
Why? You gotta stay with the classics, man. I mean, that's...
Okay, finally.
Ooh.
Colin.
Sorry, I'm late. I tried my swimmies out in the fountain and I got a little stuck.
Well, I'm glad you're with us still. Colin, who's the most influential person in your life and why?
Well, Eric, I'm glad you asked. I would have to say it's my mother. Ever since I was young, she has inspired me to better myself. She would always say, "You're worthless!" And I would always say, "That's right, and I need to make something out of myself." And she'd say, "Get out of this house!" And I'd say, "That's right, Mom, I won't just sit on that couch and do nothing. I'm going to go out there and make something of myself." She was a real good influence on me, and I love her so very much.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. So, Colin, if you won the lottery, what would you do with the money and why?
I guess what I would do is I would just want to give it to the animals.
And how would the animals use the money?
Well, I just think there's a lot of animals in the world that all have a lot of problems, and I'd really like to do something to help all the animals, so I would want to give the money to the animals.
Colin, that's a lovely sentiment. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I feel I'm doing well. You see it all the time on the news. They talk about like the difference between how much different kinds of people have different kinds of money, but the animals don't have any money, and they're clearly having the hardest time, and we need to give them some money.
Okay, so now we're going to tally up the votes from the
celebrity judges.
From the celebrity judges. We'll be right back.
The French.
So at the finale, I've got the results from the judges, and in fourth place this week, Colin, I'm sorry, your mother just really didn't want you to succeed in this competition.
This is fucking bullshit.
Yeah, Obama, Colin.
God damn it, I knew it.
In third place,
fucking bullshit.
In third place, James, I just can't believe what you want for us to see in the Iraq, and as such.
Third place is second best winner.
Our second place contestant, Chris. Thank you for your contribution this week.
You are welcome.
Where's the winner?
So that means the winner this week is John. John, congratulations, you are Mr. John Hates Movies.
Of course I am.
You are
It's my own damn show.
envy of all
This
the
is fucking bullshit. What this is a bunch of bullshit.
So, would you guys like to know what we are going to be watching next
Yes,
week?
I would.
Modern. It's an animated feature.
Oh,
Huh? We haven't
our
done one of those
first
yet.
one.
Do 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 do.
Akira.
Yes, exactly. It's Akira. No, it's not Akira.
Ghost in the Shell.
It's not Ghost in the Shell either.
Uratsuki Doji, Legend of the Overfeed.
No. Hello, everyone. My name is Mr. Peabody, and this is my boy, Sherman. Say hello, Sherman.
Shut up, you.
Shut up, you, before I put you back in the box. Yes, we are going to be watching Mr. Peabody and Sherman, the DreamWorks pick that came out in 2014. The one that failed miserably in the theaters because parents thought it was too smart.
Wow.
Like that's undercutting your kids. No,
What?
this is way, way above you.
I really thought that it was impossible for an animated film to fail right now in the climate we're in.
This was 10 years ago.
No, it was
This
1 year
last year
ago.
ago.
I thought you
This
said
was last
20,
year.
2004.
14.
Oh, 2014.
No, 14.
2014.
Oh, that was last year.
My
And-
kid's brilliant. He can't understand that.
Just imagine if
Yep,
it were
apparently
in
this
2020.
movie was generally panned by parents because they felt that all the jokes were over the children's heads. It was
that
too
dog
smart
was
of
pretty
a film.
Red over the parents' heads.
I didn't get it. Neither did Tommy.
So since then, I've been dying to see it, and we are going to watch it for next week. Everyone, thank you very much for listening to John Hates Movies. We will catch you next week. Have a wonderful night. A great big thank you to our staff graphic artist, Tabby Walters, the Weekly Cast, and our listeners. You can listen to our podcast on iTunes, the Stitcher app, through YouTube, or directly on our website. Feel free to send us a movie review suggestion. Every third episode is Listener Appreciation, where we choose from your suggestions. You can reach us through social media, either by liking our Facebook page, John Hates Movies YouTube channel, or following our Twitter at John Hates Movies. Our music was composed by Kevin MacLeod. You can find this track and many more on his website, Incompetech.com. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week to hear someone say,
Axe fight, it's a gentleman's game. Axe fight, only one can win. It's a axe fight.
Take 3. Inspector Gadget.
Nearly exhausted, he tenuously stands near the top of the jungle gym. With only 3 minutes left, he waits for the train.
I hear the train coming this way. Now if I just time this backflip just right... Ah! Missed it by that much.